again, have been complied with. And it's...
I'm just talking about any other.
Right. Again, well, why I go through that litany...
Well, you got another one tonight. You could ask the question right now.
Right.
No, I know we've negotiated these, and I understand.
Right.
I have no problem standing with that.
That's why you did it in local law fashion.
It is.
So, yeah, right.
Yes.
So we would have to discretion to make one difference.
Yeah.
Right, but it's like anything else. You can't be arbitrary, if you will, about it. So that if you had similar applications, similar percentages, et cetera, you would have some impetus to approve or disapprove in the same manner.
Well, that's one of my questions. I mean, we're kind of setting, I know, but we're kind of setting somewhat of a precedent for ourselves, and there are other subdivisions that we're going to be discussing subsequent to this type of thing.
Correct.
And, you know, I'd like to think that each one is an individual, but
They are.
they are precedent setting, so...
Well, to an extent, but not in absolute terms. To an extent. They all can be differentiated.
So are there other ones that are going to be coming up that we're going to be talking about in a little while that really would have a different flavor and we may want to act in a different fashion? Or are these sort of somewhat similar?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Oh, I think there are.
They're different.
I think there are. We're going to get some tonight that I think that when we ask how many conditions are there and what has been done, nothing.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, in other words, they can be what they call distinguished.
But
In fairness, that's different.
Yeah, it is.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
So that's what we're at. If one did something, somebody else didn't do something.
So my point is where I'm going with is I'm looking at this in somewhat as an individual thing because I may want to act differently 15 minutes from now, which is totally within our parameters.
Valid basis.
Right, okay. Secondly, we talked about the conditional and it raised the assessment. Can anybody here quantify what that does now? Is it a 10%
now
increase,
no.
50%?
That exact question has been asked in the past. And what happens is the assessor, because there has been movement action, if you will, and an increase in value. Obviously, a property with a preliminary conditional is more valuable, if you will, both in terms of sale, transfer, investment purposes. And so she does, in the normal course, at that time, analyze the parcel based upon investment, improvements, action taken, comparable parcels, both in this town and even in other towns, depending upon steps. But unfortunately, it's not a 10% step and then a 50% step at the conditional final. It just
No, but that's an autonomous department, so we don't have any input or bearing on how the assessment goes. So that's really not a town board issue.
Right, but informationally,
it's not, but it is because of the revenue.
Yeah, you're concerned. You're concerned about potential revenue, right?
Right, but we can't distinguish what it is, where it is, or why it is. That's the assessing unit that does that. So someone gets the wrong idea.
No, I
We're pushing something.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the issue that I'm debating in my own mind is there is a factor here of the economy, and everybody is aware of that, right? So naturally, you, if I were in your shoes too, I'm trying to buy time, trying to get over this debacle that is taking place. But also, by the same token, we're trying to act responsibly as town council people to move this thing along. So I guess what I'm saying is you're requesting 12 months. Is that cast in concrete? Does it have to be 12 months? Will 6 months work? Is that a possibility too, or something less than a year?
Well, you know, that's kind of where I was at when I was thinking about this. Is that one thing is that the town board is really at a distance from what goes on with the planning board each month, each week. And so we see this once a year. Okay? And to me, I think it would be maybe appropriate to say, okay, we'll give an extension of 6 months. Next 6 months, we'll kind of revisit it and just see how things are going. And if nothing else, educate ourselves again to the situation, the plight here, what we want to try to do. And then, if we see fit, give another 6 months or whatever it might be. But a year in today's climate, I think, is quite a distance. I don't know. Any thoughts on that?
That's what I'm asking. I mean, is there any compelling reason why you need a year versus 6 months or 9 months or whatever? I mean, I know you probably want 2 years, right?
No, not necessarily. I mean, hopefully, we're a little more optimistic.
Well, hopefully, but...
The reason why we're here, and you have to, I mean, again, I'll say it again, is that, for us to file a map and start to sell lots, we have to either build or bond our improvements. We're obligated by the secret process that we went through in our SWIP, that we have to keep the disturbance and the construction pace.
Right.
Whether, and I mean, I think it's also, just in terms of overall community, you allow for some absorption. I mean, hopefully we'll start to, things will pick up and we'll start selling some lots. But you don't want everybody moving in the same day. So, we look at these build-outs. I mean, our build-outs were 3 to 5 years for this project. So, I mean, our request for a year is very consistent with what we've always said we were doing. So, a year allows us to build the road next year. We don't have to, we can build, 3/4 of it this year and the remaining next year.
You mean for the 9 lots?
For the 9
lots behind it, right.
The bulk of the projects are going to be done now. That takes time. To have people come in, spend more money for applications and go through this whole process in a 6-month period, to me, I'm not for or against, all I'm just telling you.
Well, no, I'm not talking about going through any process. I'm just about coming in here and say, okay, here's what we've done over the last 6 months. Okay, and then it's more of an education on our part of keeping us current and in the loop. I don't know.
They're telling us it's going to take a year to build the road and do all that. I mean, I'm not arguing for or against, I'm just telling you, we've arrived at an agreement. The impact of 6 months or a year there is no impact.
What about the rest of the board?
That's how I feel.
Sure. I mean, it would seem to...
I'm not saying it should be 6, I'm just saying...
I just want to move on with other issues.
It seems reasonable to me, and maybe I'm wrong here, is that by, November 1st of 2010, the first part of it should be built, right? I mean, after that, there's not going to be too much more that you're going to be building to the road, right? Well, we're here in January, and that's...
Well, it won't be done in July.
What?
You're talking about July.
No, I'm asking, Phil, 6 months is not cast in concrete. It could be 8 months. It could be a year. I'm just trying to act in a responsible fashion here to move the thing along.
I'm just trying to get the reasoning right. If we're going to do it,
I think Doug just gave you the reason. Doug just gave you the reason to keep the people accountable so that they come back here and we see what they're doing.
Hey, everybody has their opinion.
Okay, well, any other board members' opinions?
The 9 lots, if you can go to the planning board and get approval on Thursday, tax-wise, if the 9 lots are approved, right now it's land, they're not designated lots, am I right?
The value of the land comes when the map is filed, right? You create tax parcels. That's the true value, that's what it really comes down to.
Okay, so if you do this all in one shot, those 9 lots, you go plan to build for a year or 2 years. It'd be worth more money if it's approved rather than conditional. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah.
Right. I'm here to represent the best of the taxpayers of the town of Goshen. I'm in construction, I feel you're paying, but so the taxpayers feel they're paying. And as you said before, phase 2 may never be built. Those 9 lots may never ever be built.
Right.
So then we lose on both ends. That's my opinion. That's why I don't like exemptions. I've seen exemptions with contractors, and the town always winds up on the short end, in my opinion. So I couldn't approve it.
Extension.
Extension.
Oh, okay.
They applied for 29 lots. Go for 29 lots.
Lou?
At all. It is, to me, it's uncharted waters because I've been on this board for 6 years, and this is the first time I've ever been asked for extensions and so forth. So it's not something that we visit once a year. This is the first time I visited, or has it been approached to me for the whole year, because everything, I'm not familiar with the planning board. I do go once in a while, but not as much. But I understand the pain of a builder and so forth. Things are tough right now. I agree with George in a sense to get some accountability, but it doesn't mean you're not going to get a year. It's just the fact. So I don't know. I'm sort of torn which way. I mean, I want to see the project work. I want to see the project get built, because that's where we'll all become.
I do too.
All right, that's the true winning situation here. And sometimes you gotta play both ways.
And that's what we're here, I think we proposed what we think is a viable development scenario that the town and the owners of the property or applicant, work for both. Grab the mic.
Okay, I guess where I'm at is and maybe perhaps pursuing what George is saying, we've got more to come.